And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Hearing Hope podcast. I have the wonderful privilege and honor to speak to one of Oregon Ducks' top of the line athletes, in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people would agree. None other than number 5, Brooke Nuneviller. Now, Brooke, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Of course. I know you have a pretty busy schedule. Like, I know that off record we talked about how you just woke up, but
Yeah.
but like you seem to not get a break because you're affiliated with the USA organized like professional volleyball, and you're also still in school right now. You just graduated, which congratulations, it's a big accomplishment. What is like your average schedule when it comes to like during the school year and like during the summer?
Yeah, I would say for just being a college athlete, you're training year round, whether that's double days in preseason or going to compete during my fall season. And then during off season, like we're going hard in the weight room, we're maybe taking practices down a little bit or we're notching them up during certain times. So, I mean, we get to school around August, we start preseason, we go hard, have our season, and then we're done around June with our quarter systems. So the month of June that we're supposed to have off, I have still been training, and that's been an absolute privilege. But yes, like you go very hard. Absolutely.
And when do you ever really get a break? Because I had to do my homework on you because I realized that everybody interviews you. Like, you're like the spokesperson for the Oregon team, and like I'm trying my best to find questions that they never asked, and that's really hard when everybody has interviewed you. But like, so do you just? I assume that when it comes to, it's a different level during the summer, of course, versus during the school year. And how is it adjusting? Like, are you changing up your training, or how is it going about like adjusting to collegiate sports versus Team USA?
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you get in the USA gym, like it's been such an honor to be here the last few weeks. The competition is insane. I mean, I'm training with some Olympians that won a gold medal in 2021. And that's just, to say that out loud is crazy to think of, but it elevates your level a lot faster. I mean, just the game is so fast itself, the tempo, the girls are hitting a lot harder, the balls are coming a lot faster at you. So, I mean, it's definitely an adjustment. We're probably practicing around 3 hours a day, maybe lifting like 3 times a week for an hour. So, I mean, we're going hard in the gym, and it's Monday through Friday. So, I mean, I'm coming straight from Oregon to this, which I have absolutely no regrets about. But, I mean, you just get better fast when you're training more, and especially at such a high level in the summer with USA.
And so I guess we'll go back from like the start. You started playing volleyball at a young age. When did you like think that, you know, USA, like you could play professionally? Because that's usually like some people, like when they first start, that's a dream. But like, when did you really think, you know, I can make this a reality?
That's a good question.
Hey,
I don't know. I don't think I've been asked that. I started playing club volleyball when I was 7 years old. So I didn't really ease into the sport. Both of my parents were playing. My brother played. It was kind of in my blood, in my genes, and I really just got straight into the sport. I would say I didn't get any good until I was probably around like 14, 15. So I would say around then I was really serious about it. And I mean, I was starting to look at colleges where I wanted to go. Starting to get recruited at that time. So it kind of becomes like a reality that this is a thing, especially going to the next college level. And then of course you have like hopes and dreams to go professionally and try to play for an Olympic team. And I would say like those dreams really started to develop around that age.
And when did you, because you've been a part of that organization, like Team USA, since like 2012, and it's 2022 now. And like looking back, how can you just like sit back and just sulk on like how much you've accomplished within that span, or is there more to come? What is like? That's probably a dumb question.
I've accomplished so much. It has been an absolute first of all, that's crazy. 2012, it's been a decade that I've been associated with the USA affiliation. In 2012, the first couple of years that I was trying out, you're making this camp. So it's really a development and a training camp. And my first year, I actually made like the A2 camp instead of the A1. So going from that to making A1 the next year and the next year, and making a youth national team, a junior national team, a collegiate national team, and then getting to train with the women's national team. It's really just a pipeline that USA likes to call it. And they love to keep the girls in the gym that like continues to develop. So, I mean, I've shown progress. I've worked hard, but it hasn't been easy. And it's definitely been dramatic changes over the years. And I mean, I'm hoping to continue to get better, work hard in the gym every day. I mean, there's so much progress to be made, especially getting to train at one of the highest levels in the U.S. with the women's national team. It's just, these girls are so good, so talented, and they put the work behind it. So I'm excited to see what I can do in the next couple of years.
Oh, yeah. Me and my girlfriend went and saw Team USA play in Shreveport, Louisiana. And it was a privilege to watch them and Team Brazil play.
I think that's like a bidding. So all the cities are bidding to see where they can host VNL. And I think Shreveport had the highest bid. And then they've played in the Philippines since then. They've played in Canada, and they're in Canada right now. They actually have a game today versus Turkey, which will be really fun. And then finals week will be in Turkey. So cheering them on.
They're all over the place, and that's insane. And that's like every summer, or is it just
VNL is every year.
Every year. Good.
And then you have world championships that are every 4 years, I believe, and it's opposite of the Olympics. So if you have the Olympics in 2024, world championships will be in 2026, and then you'll have Olympics in 2028, world champs in 2030. So it's kind of like a even balance between those two. Those are the two biggest tournaments.
That makes sense. I'm trying my best not to ask any ignorant questions because my volleyball knowledge is not that strong. I've only been like watching it like a lot until this past year because I've been doing photography and videography for a bunch of volleyball teams in the area. And so, and plus my girlfriend played at Charleston Southern. So it's just trying to figure it out. I don't understand the game. I want to play it, but no, maybe beach. We'll see. Start on the easy level. But you recently just played for the beach team at Oregon. And I assume that was just the only season you were playing for the beach team?
I actually played my freshman year too.
Okay.
So kind of my plan going into college, I wanted to keep some of my options open. So I played my freshman year. I took my sophomore year off as kind of a redshirt year to give me options if I wanted to play beach volleyball at a different college after Oregon, after my indoor eligibility was up.
Yeah.
So I took that redshirt year, and then my junior year is when the seasons overlapped because of COVID. So we had the fall season that was pushed back to the spring, so I wasn't able to play then either. And so I thought I love beach volleyball so much, and I really wanted to play for at least my last senior year here.
I got you.
And we'll see what happens after, keeping my options open still. And I still have 2 more years of beach eligibility, which is wild.
So I assume you're back in school for your master's, correct?
Yes.
What are you getting your master's in? Business administration or?
It's actually, I wanted to do more of an accelerated, and I could have done an accelerated MBA, but that was a lot. Yeah. And I kind of wanted to take it easy. So I'm doing interdisciplinary, and I picked journalism and management. So it's a little bit different, but my grad project, which I'm super excited about, I'm doing a podcast, interview with professional athletes and kind of doing like a broadcast journalism kind of side and then managing my own like social brands. So that's kind of the twist I put on it, but I just think it's really important for us to get more awareness in the US of professional volleyball because I don't know, I mean, youth players, there was this viral video that went around and it was like, can you name a couple players on our Olympic team? And there was barely anyone that could just because the media isn't covering it. And that's just something that I feel like these players deserve, especially after winning a gold medal and just to get some more media coverage and awareness in the US.
And I guess we'll touch base on that now because, yes, you did start this volleyball podcast, and is it called Let's Talk #Pro Volleyball USA, or is it?
Just Pro Volleyball USA.
Just Pro Volleyball, okay. Okay. And how has that been, like, reaching out to all of your friends that are on the national team and, like, asking them if they want to do an interview? I'm sure they're all, like, stoked to do it with you.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a couple Olympians that have come up to me and like, hey, if you need like any more interviews, of course I'm willing to do it. And they're training for VNL and they're trying to win this big tournament. And it's just this group culture that they've created. They're all trying to help each other out, and it's really special here. So especially just coming into the women's national team gym for the first time, you're a little intimidated, and you're like, does anyone want to be in my podcast? But they're all so great about it. I got like, I don't know, almost 10 girls that were like, yeah, I'm absolutely willing to do it. So I've done 3 interviews so far. The first podcast drops Monday, but I'm trying to figure out some different themes and different interviews to ask for the other girls. But I'm super excited about it because we've gotten some great conversations so far.
That's great. And when I saw them in Louisiana, I was able to get some of their autographs, and I was leaving and I was like, I could have asked at least one of them if they wanted to do a podcast. But I mean, they know you personally. They don't know who I am. So, I mean, I could totally get that. So, and plus you understand the game. I watched interviews of you explaining the game, and I'm just like, I don't know a single word she's saying, but I hope that she doesn't bring it up in the recording because I'm gonna be completely lost. But
I won't.
Thank you. Praise the Lord. So you've switched between libero and a hitter like throughout your whole volleyball career, and you spoke about how it was like the hardest thing to adjust from being libero to hitter was just getting your vertical back.
Yes.
How did you go about doing that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. So I would say that was an issue my freshman year of college to my sophomore year of college. I had never played libero for a very long period of time, like about a year. So that was the first season that I had just been a libero. For USA teams, I've trained as a libero, but those training blocks are usually never more than a month. So it's not that hard to just get back in the gym and be an outside hitter. But when I got to the University of Oregon, that was kind of the role I had to play my freshman year just because that position was open. We had really strong outside hitters ahead of me. And so that was the position I was fighting for. And that was the position I was practicing in practice. And I was never hitting for a year. And then to go into my sophomore year trying to hit at a very high collegiate D1 level. And I was like, whew, gotta get the jump back. But I would say, so yeah, that was definitely a challenge my freshman year going into my sophomore. But besides that, I would say there's a different mentality when it comes to libero and outside. As an outside, like you're passing and here's some terms. You're passing to attack. You're looking to do a next skill. With libero, it's really just passing, like passing. So I mean, you have to really get yourself in a focused and engaged mindset because that's your role. That's all you're doing. And you're supposed to be the absolute best at it. And I mean, defensive wise, it's really a similar mentality, but you're just in different spots on the court, which is a little bit of a struggle to get adjusted to and acquainted to because there's just different tendencies that you gain after playing the position for a while.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been doing it my whole life, and it's just something that has, for the most part, come pretty naturally, but definitely getting more reps in left back and as a libero before I go into the national team gym. Next time will probably be even better, but we'll see where my career takes me afterwards. If I'll play outside libero, we'll kind of just see what the options are.
And your freshman year when you had to play libero, did you think that maybe you would be playing libero like throughout all college, or you were gonna miss being a hitter? Because I'm sure you enjoyed doing both roles, but like, what was the mentality after you played libero for a season? Or I assume the coach was just like, yeah, you're going to be a hitter one day, but just not this year.
Yeah. I was okay with being a libero my freshman year. And I love libero. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's just as an outside hitter, you're scoring, you're attacking, and it's just a different element that gets added to your game. So I was under the impression coming to the University of Oregon that I would have the opportunity to be a hitter. And that's just something I was asking for from a lot of different colleges, and just being an undersized attacker, not a lot of them were recruiting me as a hitter. They were mostly recruiting me as a libero. So my freshman year, I knew that was my role, but I knew either sophomore or junior year I would get there, or at least have the opportunity to be an attacker. So, I mean, The mentality, I don't know. You get used to it. You get used to your role for sure. And that's really all it takes as a libero, or switching positions, is just getting those reps. And I was getting those reps as a freshman, but I'm loving it as an outside now. I've definitely adjusted from my freshman year as a libero, and I would say it really took me a year to get there.
Yes, and I think how I found out about you was because a highlight came up, and I think it was actually the Washington game that you scored. Was it 35 kills? Yeah, that came up on my Instagram, and I was like, yo, this girl's good. And so like going into that was your that was spring of 2021. Yes. And so going into what was the mindset after that game, because you just made this historic like 35 kill game. What was the mentality going into the other games throughout the rest of that season?
I'm always looking to beat my records, you know. But it's really not about that. It's about winning for me, you know. So whatever I can do to win and help my team. And obviously, like that game, I made some good swings, got some good attacks, and it worked out in my favor. Sometimes you really just feel like everything's working for you in any sport you're doing, you know, like whether it's Curry just shooting every single three or whatever it is, you know, it's just you're in your rhythm and you're feeling good. And there's definitely been games where I felt great, and there's been games where I have not. So mentality going into the game is just the exact same every time, and you'll kind of see what opportunities open up at different times and how you're feeling and what adjustments you need to make. But I would say mentality's pretty much always the same. Same routine through a game, and
Okay, that's good. And you've managed, because like I looked at your bio on the Oregon website, and it's basically a dissertation because you have all these accolades and you've done so well over at the University of Oregon. Like, how many more seasons do you have with indoor?
Just one.
Just one.
So this is my last one in the fall.
And you know, recently they just let college athletes, like use their own name when it comes to sports. How have you been taking advantage of that?
I've definitely gotten some really, really good opportunities with NIL. And I mean, at the beginning, I was looking out for them more. I was reaching out to more brands. And then you just get busy. And I've been really fortunate. There have been a couple of great brands that have reached out to me. But I really am selective with who I want to work with. I mean, I don't want to work with anything that could potentially be damaging to my own brand. But I mean, the University of Oregon has done some really phenomenal things for both male and female athletes, which I'm really excited about. Like we just did an NFT launch with Ducks of a Feather and Division Street. So that has been super cool. And there's been a couple other ones here and there, but as much as I love NIL, there's been I think there's definitely some pros and cons to it. There's some big recruits that are wanting to go to the university that's going to give them the most. So I just hope that some of it not necessarily dies down a little bit, but I hope athletes are still choosing the school for the right purposes and just not really taking advantage of what we're being given.
Yes. And you, like a lot of people, as far as the basketball world, a lot of people are transferring. They're doing the transfer portal nonstop. I don't know if it's like that in volleyball, but it is. Oh, okay. And so how often, well, I mean, since now it's kind of it's the norm. Everybody's wanting to transfer every year. And how often do you guys get athletes that are transferring, or athletes that have stayed there since freshman year, like you stayed your freshman year and you're trying to finish out? How has that been over there?
So in my class, we came in with 5, and I am just with one other girl right now. So, Carson Bacon, we are in the same class. Technically we came in together. She redshirted 1 year. So she has 2 more years of eligibility, which is crazy. But the transfer portal, as much as I love the opportunity to go and compete for another school, I'm always have so much respect for people that are loyal to their school. And there are so many exceptions where you're just having really awful experience and it's just not what you expected. And that is absolutely understandable. So I love the transfer portal for that reason. But I just have so much respect for the people that are staying loyal to the school that gave you the opportunities to begin with. But with that being said, we've gotten some really phenomenal transfers. And while I've been here, we got Taylor Borup my freshman year, who was 2 years older than me, and she just left. And then we got Gloria Mutiri in 2021 spring, and she has been a really great addition as a right side. And then this last year we got Hannah Pukis, and she is from Washington State. She's a setter, and she's going to be really great for us. So, I mean, I'm so happy for the transfer portal for those reasons. And I'm really excited for this next season. I think we have a really great team. We have pretty much the exact same team except for Taylor Borup, who left.
And as far as like the chemistry, is it like when you get new players in, how long does it take for you guys to actually like connect well on the court and off the court as well?
I think that really depends on the position. I think some positions you need that chemistry. For example, like Hannah's a setter, and she is going to need to connect differently with every single one of her hitters and know their tendencies and know how to set them, and just like a QB would. But I would say most of the girls that we're getting are just great girls, and they're ready to go in the gym and compete hard. So just if you're seeing that effort and that drive from new girls that are coming into the gym, it's not hard to gain chemistry right away. I would say within a month, 2 months, but the more you're competing together, like the better it's gonna get.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. So like how are you able to adjust? Because like I said earlier, you do a lot as far as like during the summer, during the fall and the spring, you're doing so much. Do you even have time to actually like relax and just be yourself?
This summer, I do have about like 9 days at the end of July and early August that I will have a nice break. But as much as I complain sometimes at the time, like it's a grind, you know what I mean? But when I'm off, I don't like it. I don't like just sitting at home and not practicing or not lifting. I'm like, I get like anxious. So as much as I complain in the moment, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else with the gym.
And you like after school, let's just look in the future. Of course, I assume that you want to play professionally. Like that's kind of a given. And how is that as far as like the national team? Do you know like their average schedule like year round? Because a lot of people think that it's just a summer thing, or it's like I know it's a year, but like a lot of people just don't think that it can't be a full-time thing.
Yeah, for developing teams like the youth junior teams, that is pretty much a summer thing. Like they'll have a tryout. Normally there's about 20 girls that make the tryout roster, and then they'll cut that down to 12. So those are for the developing teams, and they'll go play in Norseca as their world championships, and that's about a month process, I would say, and those are in the summer. But when it gets to the women's national team, you have all these different players that are going overseas and playing professionally. And so that's another thing that I've been talking about with my podcast, is that these girls don't have an opportunity to stay in the United States. I mean, they do have Athletes Unlimited, which started the last couple seasons, but I think there's only like 48 girls that are in that league. And so there's not too much of an opportunity to do that for everyone that wants to. But these girls are going professionally, and they're coming back and having to adjust to a women's national team US system again. So I would say like most girls are leaving around, it really changes for every league depending on where you go. But I would say around like August to October, and they're getting back around April or May, depending on how far you make it. So then like the time that you're not playing professionally overseas, you're coming back and you're training in the gym. So I know there's been a couple girls on the team that have been here since late April, early May, and they've been training here ever since. And then there's actually a roster of 25 girls, and they select 14 girls every week of VNL to go travel. And the amazing thing about the US is that there's different girls every week. We have so much depth. But yeah, you're really in the women's national team gym for about 4 months, I would say. And then you're with your club overseas for either 4 to 8 months, just depending on which league.
And when you say overseas, do you mean like they're playing for overseas teams, or are they playing still for Team USA overseas?
No, they're playing for overseas teams. So most of the girls on the women's national team are going to Italy. That's one of the best leagues. Italy and Turkey, Brazil's up there. China and Japan are always pretty good. So most of those girls are going to those leagues. They're playing with different teams, different coaches, having different experiences with different teammates, and then they have to go adjust to U.S. style and be with U.S. girls. That's the nice thing about overseas is that, like, say you're from Italy, you're in your club and you're playing with a lot of girls that you'll be training with the national team, and then you'll have this chemistry gained. So that's one aspect that the U.S. kind of lacks advantage of with other teams professionally overseas, or national teams overseas.
And when did you start getting connected with the national team here in the USA?
I actually just got invited to train with them in March, maybe April. So it's been really recent, and it's been so fun.
Did they reach out to you, or were you just like trying out? How did that come about?
Yeah, so in March for a week, I trained with some of the best college girls. There was about, I think, like 15, 20 of us. And afterwards, Coach Karai is our Olympic coach, and the head coach, and he gave me a call and he said he wanted me to train and come up for VNL training. And I was like, okay. I was like, are you sure? No, just kidding. But yeah, so that was really fun and not really expected. So, I mean, I've definitely taken advantage and loved every single day in the gym and just training with these girls. You just get so much better so quickly when you get acclimated to a higher level. I mean, I've never played at this high of a level, and it's been so fun.
And are you going to practice with them again, or was that just a one-time thing? How was that?
Yeah, so if I were to get invited back in the gym, it'd probably be next year. There are girls that are staying for Pan Am and World Championships, which are starting August, I believe. And so they'll be back training in August and maybe leaving in September, sometime around there. But I'll be in preseason by then. So.
But I mean, it's good because you do practice. You work out all the time, and like you said, you don't like doing nothing. And so, I mean, I guess because you train so much, it all pays off in the end. And what advice would you give to somebody that, like a girl that is interested in, like, one day wanted to play for Team USA, like, just even if they might not think that it can be a reality, but what advice would you give to a young girl that would be interested in doing that?
Just be a gym rat. Be a workhorse. Every single time you're in the gym, you're giving it 100%. You're taking opportunity to take extra reps if you can. I mean, I didn't really think of it as extra reps as a kid, but my mom was a coach at my club, and every time we'd go in the gym, she would have like a practice after my practice. And so I'd be just sitting in the gym, and then a team would be like, Brooke, do you want to play? And I'm like, absolutely. So I'd just be sitting around, and I'd play like 3 practices in a day. And I was like, wow, this is so much. I was like, I could not do that now. But, but I would just say, love it. Enjoy the process. There's some girls that, like, they have this goal or this dream to be great or to be an Olympian. And it's really tough to have those goals when you're not putting the effort behind them. And some people don't understand, like, the effort that it takes to get there. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's like, if you put in the effort behind it, whatever happens, it's meant to be, you know? So I'm just going to keep working and see how far that gets me. But definitely, you got to put in the effort.
You're right. That's good advice. And what, like, as far as, like, how are you able to juggle everything and, like, have a social life? Because, I mean, you're always in the gym, you're always doing something, but, like, how are you able to just unwind and actually be with your friends or family, etc.?
Yeah, something that family's tough, being away out of state. But luckily I have amazing parents who've supported me so much, and they say I'm in season, they're traveling almost every single week to either a home or away game. So I'm getting to see them a lot. But but just juggling everything, I would say at least this last month, like USA does a really great job in giving athletes time for a day. So like we're in the gym 8:30, we're leaving around 12:30, and you have the rest of the day to do whatever you want. So I mean, like I was with 3 roommates, and we'd go to the beach, or we'd go out to dinner, or we'd just like go have a fun night. And so that's been a really great balance, and kind of like just stress relief of just getting tension out in the gym and kind of getting that balance. So I would say USA does a really great job with that. But it is tough when you get to school, because you have classes, you have work, you have homework, you have to eat sometimes between practices and lifts and class, and that is a struggle. So I mean, you just have to manage your time really, really well, and you have to kind of prioritize different things at different times. And if you try, you can definitely make time. But I would say a lot of athletes are really tired throughout their day too. So when they have that off time, they're just like in their bed wanting to sleep, which is totally understandable, because I've definitely been there. But I mean, if you want to have a social life, I mean, there's girls on our beach volleyball team that are in sororities. And so they're in sororities, they're keeping up with classes, they're doing beach volleyball. So, I mean, time's there if you make it, but you kind of have to manage things and prioritize certain things if you want to have a bigger social life.
I got you. And what do you, and so you have what, 1 more year or 2 more years of school with your master's?
I actually graduate in December.
Oh, that's a fast master's. So like after that, what do you think I always like to ask the athletes at my university, like, what is their goal after they graduate? Like, what's the first step? Because it's always changing like every week. But like, what do you think you're going to do after you graduate with your master's?
That's such a great question. I love sports. I love volleyball so much. I don't know if I can see myself not being around the game. So I will give you that answer for now. So it's just being around volleyball, whether I'm using my degree and I'm getting like a big girl job at some point, or if I'm coaching, which is still a big girl job, but
yeah.
But just staying around the game, and whether that's playing professionally, we'll see how long my career lasts. But I think I'll be presented with different opportunities at different times, and I'll figure it out. That's what I tell everyone. People don't like that answer, but that's where I am right now. No,
it's okay. It's a spontaneous answer, but like, I mean, in the end, everything's just gonna come to you. All the hard work is gonna pay off, really. And I mean, you manage. Everybody. You say that you might not be on the court, but everybody knows that you're going to be on some court of some sort after you graduate. Like, that's just a given. At the level you're playing and the hard work you're putting in, that's going to happen regardless. So, I'm trying to figure out what other questions I can ask, because you basically covered everything. At this point, all that's left on my notes is like the dissertation of all the accolades and all the stuff that you've done at Oregon. But like, I guess I could just touch base on like the USA practice. Like, you came in there, and I assume you were nervous.
Absolutely.
When did you start like just getting in your rhythm throughout that practice?
Yeah. Throughout the month, I would say I'm not even in my own rhythm yet. I mean, there's a lot of different adjustments I was having to make. Just the speed of the game is crazy. The speed of the serve is crazy. This ball that we're using floats very differently. It moves very differently. And just getting used to that is an adjustment in and of itself. And just adjusting to being a libero again. So, I mean, the way I want to play freely and just not stress-free, because I think you always have a little bit of stress, but just a little bit of nerves. I would say I didn't quite get there yet. And I think that takes a lot of time and a lot of comfort, especially playing with different girls. I mean, girls would travel to VNL, and then I would be with a home training group, and then the VNL girls would come back and a different group would come. So I'd be getting to train with all these different girls, but at the same time, like, that involves a certain comfort level. But I definitely developed more and more comfort the more I got to know the girls and kind of how they played and how they act, and how different things to say around them, different things to do, how they like to be hyped up, how they don't. But that just takes time. And you also need to learn the USA system very quickly. I mean, I literally just got thrown into drills, and I was like, oh no. And I was just like, dig the ball, like pass the ball well. So kind of like pilot, co-pilot took, or what is that? What's it called?
Autopilot.
Autopilot. There we go. Autopilot took over at a certain time. But comfort, tensions eased, comfort was gained.
I got you. That's good. And it was just a morning practice. It was 8 to 12.
Yeah. So normally Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, we would do a 8:30 to 10 lift, and then we would practice around like 10 to 12:30. Maybe it was like 9:30 to 12:30. But yeah, it was 8:30 to 12:30 almost every day, and that was so nice because you have the rest of the afternoon off. So, especially in Southern California, like a great place to be.
Oh yeah, I've been there one time, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. Everybody really looks photoshopped over here, but but like, so that was the first time you actually like met those players, like instead of just seeing them on screen. Oh, so you already knew a few of them beforehand?
Yeah, I did. So I've played Mac May and Danny Drews, are two girls that graduated last year. They're 1 year older than me. So they were both in that gym. Dana Retke graduated a year last year, and she was a blast too. But I'd also just known, I probably knew about a third of the girls going into it. I'd either met or played with them in the past. But besides that, I haven't played with any of the Olympians. So that was just surreal. And just getting to know all the girls. They're fantastic girls. I was hanging out with different groups all the time, and I had a blast every time. Yeah. Which is, I feel like that's rare. You can't say that about a lot of teams.
Oh yeah, because I remember you posted something. You were hanging out with Jordan Thompson, and like me and my girlfriend, we're like huge fans of her because I think she's like, I want to say she's like half Filipino. That's what came up on Facebook one time, but I was like, oh, well then she's just like me then. So that's great. That was an instant connection. But seeing her in person and seeing how like interactive and just positive the whole team was, like together and with the fans, it was pretty great because it's like it's a different dynamic versus like the other teams. So like I think they were playing Dominican Republic, and like Dominican Republic was like just serious bench, serious people, never smiled, and then Team USA is doing a dance after like every time they score. Yeah. And my girlfriend was just like, this is weird to watch because it's like in the US every volleyball team is kind of like that, but like it's a different narrative at other countries. They're like really, really intense people, but like USA is just like really positive, nice, outgoing people. So I'm glad that hopefully I see you on that team in a few years, because I mean everybody is for sure rooting for you to be on that team. But as far as like branding, because now after that you graduate, you're going to be your own person. You're going to be an individual. You're not going to be represented by University of Oregon. What are you planning on doing?
In terms of like branding, like
your own branding, like your name. Yes.
That's such a good, another great question, futuristic question. I would say, like I was kind of mentioning before, just professionally wise, we'll kind of see where those take me. You just never know the opportunities that are going to come until they do. So I would say like, I'm really just going to focus on this last season and try to make some things happen. We're going to try to win a Pac-12 championship for the first time in Oregon history. We're going to try to make it to strides in the tournament that we never have since I've been here, or we never have ever. And I'm just really excited for that for the next few months. And after December 15th or whatever it is, I'm going to kind of take it from there and just see where life takes me. But yeah, for the next couple months, I don't know. I'll really be dug into what we can accomplish this last season.
And do you plan on going back home to Arizona for a few months, or you plan on like staying in California following graduation?
I would say it depends on what I do. If I play overseas right away, I'd probably have to go. But there is a league right now in the US that's called Athletes Unlimited, like I was mentioning, and they have about 40 to 50 girls. So I know a couple girls that have played for them on the players committee, and if I wanted to do that, I might be able to stay home for a couple months, because that league's only about a month and a half, and it's in April, I think. So we'll see. We'll see what the opportunities are.
That's okay. That's okay. It's all going to present itself once the time comes. So,
yeah.
But I mean, that pretty much wraps up everything. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so. Again, thank you so much for having me. There were some great questions in there.
Hey, dope. I'm going to look back and I'm just be excited after editing all of this. So I really appreciate it, Brooke. Best of luck to you this upcoming season. And, you know, I'm praying that, you know, things go well for you this upcoming season and following graduation. And I hope to one day Team USA can play in my area again and I can see you on that roster and I can see you out there representing Team USA. So thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Hearing Hope Podcast. And we are out.
Nice.